Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports, coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C. And them good old boys down south, I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America, also across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France. Of course, you good old boys in Canada. You know we love you in Africa, the Big C tribe. But there's no one we love more than the good old boys down south in the land of the free and the home of the brave on a beautiful April the 26th, 2019, Grando Deportes. Big C will be calling in shortly. So much happening in the world of the sports universe. There's a lot of good and bad junk going on. You just hate to hear what's coming out of Kansas City and how sometimes men just can't learn. They can't learn the lesson to keep their hands off of people. But, you know, you choose to do the action, you got to pay the price. I also want to say a lot happening in the sports universe. Last night, the NFL draft made a lot of people's dreams come true. For everyone who's ever dreamt of becoming your star, you know, your childhood hero. And sometimes that's people you see on TV, or sometimes you hear them on the radio. But no matter what it is, a lot of young men made their dreams come true, at least for athletics. I'm sure there's life going on outside of the sport. I do want to say today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them Charlton and Big C sent you. Also, I just want to mention today, I want to just say thank you, to Big C and everyone that's been a part of the growth and expansion of Big C Sports, the Big C Sports Network. Big C Sports is also available now on Xfinity Comcast. You can find on the program of Xfinity Podcast, Big C Sports Podcast. You can see ESPN, you can find Fox Sports, you can find NBC Sports, you can find your CNN News, you can find the BBC Network, but most importantly, you can find on Big C Sports there. It hasn't always been that case. Also, Disney. Everybody knows who Disney is. When you go to a Disney theme park, they're all over the world. You have more than 50 music choices on Xfinity Comcast. But again, what I love saying about Big C Sports, just like planting a redwood tree, it starts with a nice little cone, a little seed, that it can grow 300 feet tall. And I feel that's what we're doing. Big C Sports Podcast is the only non-scripted sports show in the universe. That's what I believe, and I'm sticking by it. There's no teleprompters, there's no producer in the ear, there's no one, telling us what script to read. No one, you will never hear where we're shuffling around 50 pieces of pages of paper because someone wrote down what we want to say. You're never going to see 15 people sitting on a studio telling you, give me all of your inputs to fill time. We just speak from the heart based on knowledge we have. We research as well as anybody else. You can also say Google it if you have a question about where we get information. A lot of it's just over the years of having that, but it's just nice to be able to say, if you want to find Big C Sports, you can hear us on the iHeartRadio network. You can hear us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, TuneIn. There's so many platforms out there now. Xfinity Comcast is in over 50 million households in the United States of America. And all you got to do is go to the iHeartRadio platform and pull up Big C Sports Podcast, and you can see our show there as well. So again, I thank everybody for that. Big C, I know you're on the line. You're probably down there partying. I don't know if you ate too much barbecue or if you got rained out last night for the NFL draft. It was rained out too, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, we've had a lot of rain down here in the South, and there was a lot of tears from fans from a lot of teams last night with their teams not picking the players that they thought they should take in the draft. I mean, it's always a guessing game. You always have all these proponents and experts analyzing what each team needs. Every team knows what they want. We look at players and prospects out there, and everyone has their thoughts and projections when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
We all sit on the outside trying to look inside.
Yes.
Teams make mistakes all the time when they make draft picks.
Yep.
Fans are the ones who buy the tickets, and they're always your biggest critic.
Right.
The ones who are buying the tickets.
Yeah.
But the thing that I took out of last night's draft more than anything, Charlton, is that the crowd in Nashville seemed larger than the crowd at the president's inauguration.
Yeah, that's probably true, Big C. That's because they did not fabricate the numbers. And so we know it's all great. I think the South has really shown how they celebrate sports, and even though it's raining, they have that's a nice looking city down there. It's kind of a hidden jewel of the South down there in Nashville. So I really appreciate seeing how much they've come along to celebrate the NFL. But I want to just mention something that it happened yesterday after we got off the air. You know, we cover all sports, we cover politics, news, we cover everything. We're not for dumb people. So if you're just looking for someone to read your scores, you can Google that or get a newspaper. But I want to just say thoughts and prayers to the late Hall of Famer John Havlicek. Passed away yesterday. You know, played 13 years in the NBA. The Boston Celtics, 8-time NBA champion. You know, one of the great players when you think about in Boston lore. Just so many people in the Boston area. We talked about it really over the last couple of days, Big C. You have NFL celebrations, parades, Major League Baseball celebrations, parade. You have it for the NHL with the Bruins, of course the Celtics. And you think about one of the prodigal sons of Boston and the great Havlicek. Just give me your feeling, and again, the thoughts and prayers with his family, but he left a long legacy to be proud of, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Hondo was one of the true great Celtics, Charlton, and you know, his career spanned over 3 different decades when you look at it, and won 8 total championships while he was playing. You know, when you know, he was playing at his height back in the 70s when he was one of the leaders of the Celtics organization. Yeah. I remember an epic series that they had against the Milwaukee Bucks at Luau Center, and they were led by Dave Cowens and JoJo White and Hondo. Even Tommy Heinsohn, who went on to coach the Boston Celtics, played on that great team. Yeah. But, you know, when you think about being a great athlete in Boston, and you think about the legacy that's there with so many great athletes, I mean, whether it's baseball, football, you know, Babe Ruth started his career in Boston. You know, you think about, you know, all the great athletes, Bill Russell, you know, 11 titles along with Sam Jones. Yep. You know, it's just unbelievable. But Hondo was one of the elite athletes. And, you know, here's a guy that played back in the time that we didn't have social media. Right. So you didn't have all this bantering that was not coming from print paper, which is what you learned about athletes with. Yeah. He was part of that legacy era that you learned the most about athletes in. Yeah. Lou Gehrig, you know, playing there in Boston. I mean, just a great legacy of athletes, and Hondo will always be missed from the Hall of Fame brethren that he has there in the NBA. Yeah, there's a lot of sentiments to his family, and people always say we all want to hit 100 years old. Not many people would do that. Maybe with medication we will, but it's how you live. The man lived a life doing what he loved, and so again, thoughts and prayers to him, and even the Boston fans that maybe looked upon him as a prodigal brother or a prodigal father. And so again, thoughts and prayers with Havlicek. I want to bring up also I know we talk about the NFL and there's so many things, and we'll get into that too. And I want to get a few other things out of the way before we even get into what's going on in the world of the NFL. I really think the NFL is, just because of what we're seeing right now down in Nashville, it's becoming a league that is almost year-round. What sport could replace the attention given to the NHL playoff? And you think about that. They're looking for a Lord Stanley's Cup, and everybody's talking about the NFL draft. But I do want to pay a little bit of attention to the NHL playoffs. We have San Jose at Colorado. You know, they're playing Colorado. And then New York Islanders playing versus Carolina. And when you think about the NHL, how it's been supplanted, I mean, it never really can compete with the NFL anyway. But would you believe in the NHL playoffs, Big C, no division champions advanced to the second round of the NHL playoffs for the first time in NHL history, Big C? Your thoughts? Well, you know, this is what parity in sports has created. I mean, we see this not just in the NHL, we see it in the NBA, we see it in the NFL, where there's always a wild card scenario and a team that nobody expects to get there. Yeah. We saw that with the best record in NHL history, not being able to get out of the first round. Matter of fact, got swept. Yeah. So when you think about fanfare and expectation, a lot of this talk comes from the media about what expectations are, how somebody should win something. We see the Golden State Warriors struggling with the Los Angeles Clippers. Yeah. Professional sports is about professional athletes, guys who are paid to compete, and everybody has the same yearning to win a championship in the sport that you're playing. Yeah. And so when you're coming in as an 8 seed, a 7 seed, that doesn't mean that you're not a competitive team. You made the playoffs. You're not looking to go fishing early.
Yeah.
So you're going to play as hard as you can in the springtime to get to the championship round.
Yeah, definitely that's the case. You got to earn it on the field, and everybody knows that. And so when you look at what's going on with the NHL, and I know they feel bad because compared to the other major sports, they're being beaten up by the NFL draft. We're not even in NFL football season yet. The Bruins, and I mean, just to think about how big that is, imagine if the NFL playoffs were beaten up by the NHL drafts. That would be anathema to sports in the form of the NFL. Big C, the Bruins, the Islanders, and the Sharks, they lead the NHL in power rankings. 107 points for the Bruins, 103 points for the Islanders, 101 points for the Sharks. And then you think about the Blue Jackets, 98 points, followed by the Hurricanes. You know, they have 99, as well as the Stars at 93. The Avalanche, Colorado, they have 90. So everybody loves this game of hockey that's on ice, but obviously if you don't have your division champions in there, it may take a little bit of the success out of it, but I think it also talks about the parity of the NHL. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, when you talk about somebody taking a back seat, every professional sport last night took a back seat to the NFL. The NBA took a back seat. Major League Baseball took a back seat. Hockey took a back seat.
Yeah.
Major League Soccer took a back seat. The NHL is a life of its own. You got to realize the NFL took Sunday away from God. It's just a church time for the NFL. That's how big the NFL is. And when you have a crowd for the draft that's close to 100,000 people, we're talking about every NBA playoff game that's being played on a particular night does not equal the crowd that the NFL had just around for the draft.
Yeah.
So no sport right now can compete with the NFL. That's how much a stronghold it has on society. Even college football is at that level, on the major college level.
Yeah.
But, when you look at the NHL, the difference in the NHL versus any other sport is that it's equal all across the ice when you're looking at it.
Yeah.
It's like, one dominant team was in the NHL this year. That was the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah.
But they were only dominant during the regular season. They had an equalizer when they got to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Is that, you're on the same plane when you get to the playoffs. Is that everybody is a playoff team.
Yeah.
You're not playing the teams that are not in the playoffs. We've seen that in the NBA playoffs. When you're not seeing sweeps in the NBA playoffs, the reason for that is because you're playing all championship contenders.
Yeah.
When you get to those 8 teams, you're a championship contender in your division.
Yeah.
So there's no easy out.
Yep.
The NFL, there's nothing that will ever compete with it in America. Baseball was America's team before the America's game.
Yeah.
Before the NFL came around. The NHL, you got to think about a league that started out with only 6 teams in the original starting of the league. It was the original 6. Now you look at the expansion of the NHL to 30 teams. That means that that's a growing sport. It is the largest growing sport of all the professional leagues. Nobody has had the expansion that Major League Hockey, that the NHL has had in the other sports, whether it's football, basketball, or baseball.
Yeah.
So it does have that fanfare because the expansion warrants that to go to other cities.
Yep. And so obviously everybody's going to love whatever sport they love. We just want to pay homage to the NHL, but we know that the NFL is king. I want to touch a little bit on what's happening in the world of the NBA playoffs. And I know we can't be partial. If you could say you love someone, I do pull for Northern California teams because there's more energy in Northern California when you have a Northern California team in the playoffs. We've been missing that energy with the Raiders and the 49ers, Golden State, and even the Giants, 3 World Series in 10 seasons, and the A's been nipping and tucking on the playoffs. The San Jose Sharks are consistent. But you look at the Sacramento Kings and you look at the Raiders and the 49ers, not a lot to root for when it comes to playoffs. I want to get your feeling for the South when it comes to Texas, the Southwest. NBA playoff San Antonio Spurs, they defeated Denver 120-103. Big C, they forced a Game 7 in Denver. We talk about can Coach Pop out-coach Malone on the road. But we were saying that Denver, they're lucky to even be a 2 seed. They may not even be a 4 seed, even though they may win. Who knows? But give me your feeling. They're being pushed to Game 7 by a team that was struggling just to get in. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, they're being pushed by a team to get into the playoffs that they had a hard time getting in. But, it comes down to that parallel in all of this. When you're looking at the coaching savvy of Popovich,
The best.
Plus, he has a roster that's playoff, ready.
Yeah.
They've been there. When you look at this lineup, they were in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
And they bring in DeRozan, who was on the best team in the East last year.
Yeah.
So they have that veteran leadership.
Yeah.
The NBA regular season is a season of attrition.
Yeah.
And we put a lot of weight into what goes on in the regular season. But if you look even at the Golden State Warriors and you look at the steady decline over the last 4 years that they've had in wins, you can't put all that weight on the regular season if they're the favorite going in to the playoffs to win the championship, and they only had the third best record in the league.
Yeah.
So this is the same thing you look at with San Antonio. Getting into the playoffs, that's just the beginning of the battle.
Yeah.
Now it's the best of 7. It's not the best of 82.
Yeah.
It's the best of 7.
Yeah.
So you want to go out there and you tactically plan a game for a series for 7 games.
Yeah.
That's the Warriors with the dog fight that they're in here with the Clippers. Everybody expected them to sweep the Clippers. And now, right now, they're trying to pick up all the dust that they left behind.
Yeah.
When I look at this situation with Popovich and a veteran roster in San Antonio, I don't give any credence to what all the other experts are saying. Say, well, this is a sweep, this is an easy out. If that's the case, you send the score in over an email, okay?
Yeah. Well, some of my friends down in Vegas, they do send the score in over emails. I'm just not giving them my money. So, not being flippant, you know how they talk about Southern hospitality? When someone comes to your place, you give them some libations. You give them a bite to eat. What would you advise San Antonio? Don't eat anything that Denver has for dinner. Just bring your own food. Would that make any sense? Your thoughts?
Well, there's a show on TV called Bong Appetit. They use a lot of weed when they cook it, a lot of marijuana,
Mother Earth,
a lot of THC, CBD. So, yes, I would invite somebody over for dinner because, if you eat a meal at somebody's from Denver's house, but you got to be nice and relaxed at the end of that meal.
Yeah, don't relax that defense, Coach Pop. I think he's too savvy to have them pull smoke over the, no pun intended, smoke over his eyes, Big C. Speaking of pulling something over the eyes, I hope the referees, especially, and again, I feel bad for the Las Vegas Golden Knights when the commissioner comes out after that 5-minute power play. And they lost the series because of that. They were up 3-0. They were down 4-3 after it was over. And then the official, or the commissioner comes out the next day. It says the officials got it wrong. That's what Las Vegas was telling them during the time. Coach was complaining during the time that they got it wrong. It is a shame. I hope we don't see that tonight in basketball. In L.A., people say that the Madison Square Garden is a mecca. I really think Staples Center is probably the new mecca of NBA basketball because it's a house of the Lakers, really. But there's so much excitement in L.A. for the Clippers tonight. It may be their final game, who knows? But we have NBA Game 6, Golden State at the Clippers. It's a must-win game for the Clippers. It's a must-win game for Golden State's ego, Big C. Give me your feeling on the momentum going into this game. The team that plays tight's not going to win this game. Your thoughts?
Well, I don't think you're going to get a tight game from either one of these teams. They're going to play all out. You're going to see a very aggressive style of basketball from the Golden State Warriors. You're going to see a lot of motion in their offense, and that's when they win, is when they have the motion.
Yeah.
The Clippers are trying to move the ball around and force you to play defense. That's where they've had their success in their 2 wins in this series.
Yeah.
Passing the ball excessively, getting more passes than the Warriors. When you have to expend a lot of energy on defense, that's going to be your Achilles when you're on offense. And the Warriors, we know that they run that motion offense, so they have to work twice as hard as they normally do.
Yep.
The Clippers have been playing with house money from day one.
Yeah.
They walked into this series, as I said, all the experts expected for them to be swept.
Yeah.
And now they've gone up and swept the series at Golden State, so they've won 2 games there.
Yeah.
And so they have the home court advantage when you realistically look at it, even though they're down 3-2. They have the home court advantage because now they're at home with an opportunity to force a Game 7.
Would you believe, sometimes you do things that are foolish. Remember Capella was saying that we want to play Golden State because, revenge from last year. There's already talk that the Houston Rockets are already in Oakland. They're already in Oakland, and they're getting ready for the Golden State Warriors. That's not respectful. And I'm thinking they probably hedge their bets in the right direction. They're owned by a billionaire. They could probably fly another private jet to LA if they had to. But give me your feeling as a team. If you're on the Clippers and you know that Houston's already in Oakland tonight before tip-off, would that matter, or is that just child's play? Your thoughts?
Well, it shouldn't matter to you at all if you're a professional athlete, because the only thing that you're concerned about is the task at hand. Your task at hand right now, you got to beat the Golden State Warriors twice.
Yeah.
So you're not even concerned about where the Houston Rockets are. They could be in Miami, and it shouldn't bother you at all.
Yeah,
but, if they're in Houston, they're in Houston. If they're in Oakland, they're in Oakland. All the NBA flies on their own chartered jets. So it's not about where they're sitting at, what hotel they're sleeping in. They're going to be in the California environment anyway. They live in Texas, where it's a lot more humid than what it is in California, whether they're in Northern California or Southern California. They know that they're going to be playing. So regardless, they're expecting to be in Oakland, getting rest. That's the number one thing they're looking at. If they don't have to spend the time on the plane, they get their legs back under them. They're breathing the air there, eating some fresh seafood in the bay. That's all they're looking at.
Yeah, that's funny. And I love San Francisco. I think it's the most beautiful city in the universe. And everybody has their own opinion, but it really is a great place, the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area. So no matter who wins tonight, I know we can't predict anything, but I would think Curry needs to have at least 20 points. Durant's probably going to get into the 30s. Thompson needs to be into the 20s. And they need to just play the ball inside out instead of everybody shooting threes. And I think for the Clippers, they just got to keep pounding the rock. Big, see your thoughts.
Well, the Clippers are going to be a very aggressive team going with the dribble penetration.
Yeah.
They like to run a lot of pick and roll in their offense, and that's where they found the success in last game.
Yeah.
That high pick and roll.
Yep.
But the thing is, the Clippers understand they have to get to the basket.
Yeah.
They got to get to the basket. Not only if they miss it, they get a chance to go to the free throw line.
Yeah.
They're trying to wear down the Warriors physically, and that's the best chance that they had. We saw that they were led by two bench players in scoring.
Yep.
So that's what they're doing. They're using more players in the rotation than what the Warriors are. So the leg factor comes into play here when you're tired.
Yeah, when you're tired. So obviously they got to play with a lot of heart. Both teams love California dreaming, and they're doing it well down in LA tonight. I want to get your feeling on something. When you think about the world of Major League Baseball, we're not going to spend a lot of time on it, but I don't like ignoring baseball the way the fans do. It's just you know how the Raiders and the A's have tarped off the top part of the Coliseum? You don't see that down south. I mean, maybe you do. I don't know. But are there any professional teams that will tarp off the top of their stadium in a team that just made the playoffs last year? Your thoughts, Big C?
Well, when you look at the A's, they've been in that situation for a long time, lack of attendance.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why they're moving stadium downtown, because people from downtown Oakland are not willing to come down to that Coliseum in that area of the water.
Yeah.
And so you have to move to where your fans are. This has become the new millennial.
Yep.
You have to become updated in all your stadiums. You got to deal with the fiber optics. You got to deal with internet.
Yeah.
All of those things. You got to deal with safe parking. So when you try to get fans to come to an older area of town that is no longer desirable, that doesn't offer anything beyond the sporting venue, then these are the things that you suffer with. And that's what Oakland has suffered with for a long time. You can talk about the great fans. You can talk about the championships that they've won in their history.
Yeah.
But history is one of those things that's something that we remember.
Yeah.
It's not present day.
Well,
and so when you look at how these organizations have gone down, even San Francisco, they've moved out to San Jose with the new when they got rid of Candlestick Park.
Yeah.
Because it was no longer a desirable area to come into for fans. It offered nothing beyond the game. And you have to look at professional sports now as a business. It's not just a game. And when you think about the only thing that matters is what's going on between the sidelines and the hash marks,
right?
No, it's not. The owners and the cities need to get more dollars out of the patrons of these establishments.
Yeah.
So not only do they want you to go to the game, but they also want you to patronize establishments that they have outside of the venues. And that's the reason why the movement of all these new arenas, and when you look at the locale of them, they're going into places where everybody is comfortable going. When you talk about the Chase Center in Oakland, where the Warriors are moving to, look at the area of town that is moving in. Look at the revitalization that's going on into that area. The money that's being invested not only in homes and dwellings, but businesses and restaurants. You don't have those things around Oracle Arena in Oakland. I've been there, and all you have is Oracle. You're in and you're out.
Yep.
You're not going to go outside of Oracle 100 feet outside the arena and stop at a restaurant.
Yep.
You're not going to do that, but you're going to do that at the Chase Center. You cross the street, you're in a restaurant.
Yep.
You're in a place that you want to be eating. You're going to be on the waterfront. All of those things are attractive when you're trying to draw players in. Right there in Los Angeles, where they're going to be playing tonight.
Yeah.
The Staples Center, right in the heart of downtown Los Angeles. Everything that you want is around the Staples Center.
Yeah.
I've been there for fights. I've been there for basketball games. It's a great attraction to be down there. ESPN even has a center down there, broadcast center.
Yeah.
So you're seeing this in all the major metropolitan cities. Right there in Cleveland, when you look at Quick and Long Arena and you look at the Jake right there, everything is right there. It's like a mall area outside these facilities.
Yeah.
And that's what the fans want. That's what the city is trying to bring to them. Because you got to bring them in for more than just a sporting event, Charlton.
Yeah, you got to do that definitely. Just run down the Major League Baseball. Just the schedule tonight, you have Philadelphia playing against Miami at home. Washington is at home versus San Diego. The New York is at home versus Milwaukee. Atlanta is at home versus Colorado. St. Louis at home versus Cincinnati. Arizona is at home versus Chicago. And the LA Dodgers are at home on the West Coast versus Pittsburgh. In the American League, Toronto at home versus Oakland. Boston at home versus Tampa Bay. You have Minnesota at home versus Baltimore. Chicago at home versus Detroit. Houston at home versus Cleveland. The LA Angels at home, actually on the road at Kansas City, and Seattle at home against Texas. Interleague played the New York Yankees at San Francisco. I want to just say this because I don't want to spend much time on it, but I know as we get into the draft, I think I'd be remiss if I did not just mention the garbage that came out of Kansas City about Tyreek Hill from off-season workouts. An audio tape surfaced with him and his fiancée. Obviously, whatever's going on in that relationship, she's complicit. I'm not blaming anybody I don't know. I don't believe anyone should be abused or hit or anything we say on every show. But I just find it auspicious how the mothership and many networks are talking about the Tyreek Hill situation, and they're playing this tape over and over and over and over and over again. But they don't play it on Bosa, who has been a known bigot. They put his family on TV, and they try to say, well, bigotry's okay, but we can't have abuse. They're both bad. And I want to get your feelings. No Robert Kraft tape, nothing about Bosa. It's all about Tyreek Hill, and no one saw it on tape. It was just audio, Big C, like the President. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, it's a very egregious audio tape where you hear he and his fiancée talking about the abuse of a child. That's what's the most disturbing part of it. I understand what the president did. I understand what Bosa said. But here it is. We're talking about Tyreek Hill in a situation where he's been in an abusive relationship with this woman for some time.
Yeah.
He's had charges filed against him by this woman before, but they stay together. But the most egregious part was they discussing the abuse of a child in this relationship, Charlton.
Yeah.
And not only that, he's threatening the woman, telling her, you need to be scared of me also. She's also talking about that she covered for him, with the police and protective services in this. So she's helping him commit the crime. What I see occurring from this situation is that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to cut ties with him, Dalton.
Yeah.
You always talk about there's no excuse for domestic violence or any of these things in our program every day. This is something that you preach.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill is sitting there banting about the domestic violence that he's committed on his own child.
Yeah.
Not only that, on his own fiancée. He's bragging about it. Now, is she culpable in it? Yes, she is, because she's sitting there recording. And they said that the recording was done while the phone was in her purse. This is a pretty clear audio recording.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds better than our program.
Yeah.
So, this was something that they were sitting up, orchestrating, or talking about while the phone was sitting right there in front of him. Whether he was prescient enough to understand that, but the stupidity of this individual, not only to brag about this, but to assault a child and try to cover up for it.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. The young boy ended up with a broken arm.
Wow.
So you're not just going to end up with a broken arm. So I'm not comparing him to Trump. I'm not comparing him to Bosa. This is an individual, isolated incident situation with Tyreek Hill. He has a history. This is not his first go-around. He has a history of domestic violence.
Yes.
So he's not going to be accepted in the NFL. He's not going to be kept on the Kansas City Chiefs roster. I expect him to be released before the month is over. Especially with how egregious this tape is and what happened. Kareem Hunt was released for lying, okay?
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill is going to be released for lying. You as a professional athlete, you as a grown man, need to be responsible for your actions.
Yeah.
You can't sit there and abuse a little child like that. The kid wasn't even 5 years old. I believe the little boy was 3 years old.
Wow.
And you break his arm.
Wow.
Okay?
Yeah.
You break his arm in an intentional act. You can say it was an accident, but you lied and covered up, so it was an intentional act, all right? Because this was the way that you were disciplined.
Yeah.
So you're sitting there telling on tape how you're beating the kid and how you're disciplining the kid. You're punching him in the chest when he does something he doesn't like. When he's crying, you tell him hold his arms out so you can punch him in the chest. Stand there and let one of those big offensive linemen do that to you every time you open your mouth and see how much you appreciate that.
Let me ask you a question.
I don't see him having a job in the NFL beyond this month.
Well, I think he will have a job again because they're going to they might let him go, but someone else will pick him up. Look what happened to Hunt. What about Andy Reid? Does anyone look at Andy Reid? I remember, and I'm not blaming Andy Reid for what happens at another man's house, but I know Tomlin was held under fire for things that were going on with just people talking. No one punching, but talking with Antonio Brown, and Le'Veon Bell last year, and they were saying he's losing control of the locker room. No one's complaining that Andy Reid is losing control of the locker room. If we knew it was on tape, Andy Reid knew it was on tape. Why is he getting the scapegoat? Why can he say, well, we're not going to make a statement? Why is he hiring somebody who already has that behavior, Big C? Your thoughts?
Andy Reid knew of Kareem Hunt's problems when he was in college. He gave the young man an opportunity. He said he would correct his life. He would no longer do this. He would no longer that person. We hear this from athletes all the time.
Yeah.
Athletes are always given a second chance. Jerry Tarkanian made a living giving athletes a second chance going to college, whether it was at Long Beach State, UNLV, or Fresno State.
Yeah.
Giving athletes an opportunity because they had problems in their past. You can only take a man for his word. Andy Reid gave Kareem Hunt, look, I'll stand up for you if you change your ways. We only know about NFL or NBA or NHL or Major League Baseball athletes that we get in the media that a report has been released about them from the police.
Yeah.
Think about how many athletes that you don't get reports on. Just like talking about Bosa. We didn't know about that until somebody uncovered his tweets.
Yeah.
When you get all these strollers out there throughout the media looking through people's accounts and they find out things about them, that's all of a sudden, now you start drawing an opinion about a person. You don't have an opinion about them until somebody tells you something about them. We all want to think that everybody is a stand-up person.
Yeah.
But if you're bad, you're bad. That's what it is. But when you're sitting there beating up a 3-year-old child because he's crying, show me a 3-year-old that doesn't cry. Show me a 5-year-old that doesn't cry.
Yeah.
Show me a 10-year-old that doesn't cry. But you're bigger than your own child, and you're going to stand there, and the punishment for your child is that you tell him to hold out his arm so you can punch him in the chest. You have no empathy for anybody at that point. And then you're going to say, then you're telling the girlfriend when she's talking about it, you said that you whoop his butt. I understand that. Physical discipline is not abuse.
Yeah.
But your girlfriend said she did it also.
Yeah.
But then when you're telling the girlfriend, you need to be scared of me also like the little boy is scared of me.
Yes.
That means that you're abusing everybody around you.
That is
because you have money.
Yep. And that's horrible. And I want to bring up one more thing before we go to the break. Luke Walton, the head coach of the Sacramento Kings, just brought on a couple of days ago. We know he's also had a sexual misconduct, assault, whatever it was, lawsuit filed. So this is beyond somebody talking hearsay, she say. It's been filed in the court. No one's talking about letting him go. So is there anything?
Well, look at the thing with Luke Walton, okay? Luke Walton has not been criminally charged. Okay, this is a civil suit that has been filed against Luke Walton.
Yeah.
So we have different levels of things. And the woman said that she was sexually assaulted. I'm not saying that she wasn't.
Right.
But she didn't seek out law enforcement or criminal prosecution against Luke Walton. She is seeking financial prosecution of Luke Walton.
Yeah.
That is the difference. And so I have to look at things a little differently when you say, okay, I only want financial prosecution of you.
Right.
I don't want,
jail time,
criminal prosecution.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel that what you did was egregious enough to criminally prosecute you, but I feel what you did was egregious enough to financially prosecute you.
Wow.
There's a different level on things. And so when everybody is sitting around making their judgments on stuff, when there's money that's asked for first instead of criminal prosecution,
wow,
you got to take that with a grain of salt.
That's a very important point. We told you Big C Sports is real sports talk. It's real conversation, just like sitting around your grandparents when they want to be honest with you. That's what we do. We're going to come up on a Big C Sports break, and we will be back in just a moment. All right, Big C, we are right back at you, and I love just real conversation. We advocate for no assault against anybody, and I truly believe that on my heart. The only way you fix it is talking about it. Before we get into the NFL draft, I got to draw a conclusion. Dabo Swinney, head coach Clemson Tigers, got a 10-year, $93 million contract from Clemson. I want $93 million, Big C, and I'm sure you do too. I want to contrast that. NFL football coach last year, John Gruden, Oakland Raiders, 10-year, $100 million contract. Let me ask you this question. Anyone listening in the sports universe, who's coached more championship games and had better records with their teams, Dabo Swinney or John Gruden? Your thoughts?
Well, the situation with Dabo Swinney down in Clemson, that's a contract that you love to have. As a college coach, you're on the hook for 13 games a year.
Yeah.
13. In the NFL, you're on the hook for 16 games.
Yeah.
Not only that, in the NFL, you have to budget finances for a team based on injuries and all of that. College is about how many players you're going to stockpile.
Yeah.
You spend half the year recruiting. The NFL, you're always worrying about what's coming along. You got competition every week. Being in a college conference, you can dominate your conference.
Yeah.
You can't do that in the NFL.
Yeah.
When you look at what Dabo Swinney has been in the ACC since Bobby Bowden, actually Jimbo Fisher, he ran Jimbo Fisher
he ran him out of town.
The ACC, when you think about it. He made Jimbo Fisher leave Florida State after winning a national title and go take the money in Texas A&M, which we thought would never be topped at $75 million for 10 years.
Jump change down.
Now that he's run him out of there, he's had no competition in the ACC. He's been in 3 of the last 4 national championship games.
Yeah.
So you think about how powerful he has been as a coach to win 2 of the 3 titles that he's been participating in. But to get this $93 million guarantee, I give kudos to Clemson also for locking the guy up. So you don't have to worry about if Nick Saban retires, that Alabama's going to come calling, because that's what Dabo Swinney played his college ball and was a wide receiver. No other university is going to come into your back door and say, hey, we're trying to speak the coach out. That's not going to happen. Because you got to understand that this contract is going to be loaded with buyout clauses. That a university that's seeking him would have to spend an expeditious amount of money, as well as Dabo is going to have to pay back a lot of money. So he's a Clemson. This is what you call a lifetime contract that he just received from Clemson.
He just received a lifetime contract of
back rubs. He's only 50 years old. Think about it. He just turned 50.
What a bargain. I tell you what they say, God is good. Well, I know that he believes that in the South, but congratulations, Dabo Swinney. Hopefully he will be the first one to advocate that college players that he loves so much, you love them like they're your own kids. I hope that Dabo Swinney will advocate for players getting played. You got $90 million. You can start the discussion conversation. Big C, am I being naive? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, he was one of those college coaches that paid the kids last year. His son's been on the team for the last 4 years. So his son has financially reaped the benefits of what.
What about his other kids, the adoptive kids? What about the prodigal kids? Do they get any money?
It's hard to always not take your biological kids serious. I guess you say it on the college level. They're not even fraternity children when you look at it. So, you love them, but, they're like distant cousins. They're always there wanting something. You give them a meal, that should be enough.
That's funny. I got to ask you one question before we get on the NFL. I'll just run down the picks and get your thoughts on it in the next 20 minutes. Let's say someone wins $100 million in the lottery. Do you call your cousins in and tell them, Big C, I know, what are your thoughts?
Well, you think about it. All these Mega Millions and Powerball lotteries that have been won in the U.S. over the past 5 to 10 years, how many people let people know that they've won that? So, this is the same thing we're asking of coaches on the college level. Okay, because you've gotten this huge contract. The contracts that they've gotten, Charlton, been based on the players that they've had in the past, not always based on all the current players that are on the roster. And so it's you're asking a college coach to do something different than a corporate CEO in America. You look at every corporate CEO in America who has these multi-million-dollar stock options with these companies and these $100 million salaries. How much are they giving back to the employees that made it possible for them to have the money? It's amazing how everybody looks at sports heads and say, okay, they have to be the fixtures in the community and of a corporation, of a team. That they need to be the ones to pay out. Corporate America was built on greed. College football is corporate America. This is not small-time stuff. This is not what it was when I came out of college. That coaches, they may have gotten a house and a car for him and his wife. That was it.
No, that was it.
They getting real estate in the city. So this is what you got to look at. If corporate America is not going to pay the kids, and the college is part of corporate America also. You think about the money that a coach gets in a contract on any level, in college, professional, high school, whatever. The person that's writing him that check is not Wincy. So Dabu Sweeney got $93 million. They had no problem putting the ink on the paper. So there's a lot more money left on the table somewhere.
Dabu Sweeney, you have a C on that hat for Clemson. There's also a C in Big C Sports. Give Big C $93 million. We'll take the money. Big C, I want to get on the NFL draft. I know we talked about our thoughts yesterday, and we got it right with Kyler Murray, obviously. Well, you got it right. Kyler Murray out of Oklahoma. I think he'll make a big difference for the Arizona Cardinals. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, he's a quarterback to fit the system of the coach that you hired. You think about Arizona hired a coach last year, Steve Wilks. They fired him after 1 year. They drafted a quarterback to fit what they felt Steve Wilks was going to do as a head coach. So not Kyler Murray, but Josh Rosen will be gone. Most likely he's going to go to Miami today for a second-round pick. You think about Josh Rosen is the best deal left on the table in the draft. He's owed 3 years at $7 million. That's what's left on the contract.
That's peanuts.
You get that for a second-round draft pick. And he's not damaged goods. You got to look at that. He has NFL experience. Although he didn't have that great experience, he has 1 year of NFL experience. Show me what quarterback coming out of college has that. So he's a year ahead of anybody that you could have drafted. So the teams that didn't pull the trigger on Josh Rosen on day one, and if the Dolphins go ahead and pull the trigger on it tonight, I think it'll be a great move for the Dolphins. You got Ryan Fitzpatrick down there who can be a mentor for him. I mean, a la Steve DeBerg, how he used to be in the NFL with Joe Montana, with John Elway, with Vinny Testaverde. An old veteran quarterback who's not expected to be a starter, but wants to get just a little bit of playing time in.
I agree very much.
Kyler Murray fitting Cliff Kingsbury, you want to sell tickets. You're looking at a venue that was half full half the time. You talked about Oakland being topped off. That stadium down there in Glendale was half full half of the season. So this is what you need. You need to get your ticket sales up. You need to bring some excitement into Arizona, and that's what Kyler Murray is going to bring.
San Francisco 49ers, Nick Bosa, their choice out of Ohio State. Social issues aside, I think he's a joke of a person to toss around the N-word they don't even ask for forgiveness. They act like, so what? But the 49ers said they'd rather take a bigot than someone who stands for equality for everybody. Your thoughts?
Well, I think the 49ers missed out on that choice. I think they should have taken Allen out of Kentucky. He was a better fit for that scheme that they have. Bosa has been an often injured college player playing against college athletes. I think the 49ers missed the boat in 2 ways. Socially, they missed the boat, as well as athletically, they missed the boat. Everyone says that Bosa is the best pass rusher there. He didn't lead the NCAA in sacks.
No.
So he could not have been the best pass rusher in the draft. Allen was twice the player that he was. The 49ers, I think, in a couple of years will look back and regret saying the guy is injured and he hasn't delivered.
Number 3, Jets pick Quinnen Williams, defensive tackle, Alabama. I know you're big on the defensive guys, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, I think that was an overreach by the Jets. They got the other Williams out of USC that they picked 2 years ago. They needed an edge guy also. They missed the boat. They could have had Allen at this position. Quinnen Williams is a tremendous player, but, you need pass rushers in the NFL. You're not going to worry about run stoppers. You're looking at the AFC East. There's no great running backs in the AFC East. There's a lot of great passers there. So I think the Jets will sit back at the end of the season and say, we went in the wrong direction.
Well, the 4th, we talk about Gruden, the $100 million, not as good a coach as Dabu Sweeney, but he makes $10 million more. But Sylvan Farrell, you think about him on the edge out of Clemson, winning the national championship games the last couple of seasons. Give me your feelings on him.
Well, this is a guy who's played at a high level and has been a 4-year starter at Clemson. I think what the Raiders needed was a true pass rusher. What they wanted here was a guy who could play against the run as well as the pass, and they'll get that in Sylvan Farrell. Will he ever be more than a 10-sack guy in the NFL? I'm not sure that he will be.
Right.
He got a solid player with a lot of experience and championship pedigree. That's the one upside with him.
For the Buccaneers, Devin White stays down in the South, linebacker out of LSU, runs 4.40. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, they got a real player right there in Devin White, the best linebacker in the draft. He's going to be a pencil in from day one for the Buccaneers. They lost their top linebacker in free agency. He's going to be a big help to that defensive line in the future.
What's up with the Giants? Daniel Jones, quarterback out of Duke. Did they not know that Ohio State has a quarterback that threw for 50 touchdowns in the Rose Bowl championship? Your thoughts?
Well, you have to understand what Dave Gettleman kept telling the media. He says, Eli Manning is our quarterback. He's our future. So I'm going to draft a guy who is just like Eli Manning, who has a problem with accuracy down the field, who completes just over 50% of his passes against college players. And this is what Dave Gettleman kept telling everybody.
Yeah.
He was telling everybody, I'm not trying to build an organization here in New York. I'm hoping for tanking and hoping that 2 years down the road that Trevor Lawrence is available. Daniel Jones is a stopgap.
Yeah.
That's all it is. He's not the future of the Giants, but he destroyed the Giant Nation last night, some of the most loyal fans and knowledgeable fans in the NFL. Yeah. And even all the NFL experts like, wow, only Mel Kiper loved this pick.
Yeah.
Your friend.
No, he's your friend, Big C. The 7th pick, the Jaguars, Josh Allen, edge out of Kentucky. I think they have a legit guy playing on the edge, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, you put him with Calais Campbell, the great defensive tackle that they have. Now you got this Jacksonville Jaguar defense of 2 years ago that almost got to the Super Bowl until Blake Bortles started crying on the sideline.
Prop betting.
Now you got a quarterback
that
has championship pedigree and a Super Bowl ring with Nick Foles. Now you got that edge rusher to get the pressure on the opposing team. Now you got to get Nick Foles some help.
Number 8 pick, Detroit Lions, T.J. Hawkinson, tight end out of Iowa. I like him. I really like this kid, but I don't think he's going to help them win. Your thoughts?
Well, when you look at what Detroit does with tight ends, they drafted Ebron a couple of years ago out of North Carolina State. He didn't flourish in that offense.
No.
He went to Indianapolis and became an all-pro receiver with 13 touchdown receptions playing with Andrew Luck. I don't think that the quarterback there, Matthew Stafford, understands what the tight end is used for. I thought they would have been smarter going out and getting a wide out because they got lost Golden State.
Yeah.
But, Hawkinson is an excellent receiver.
You look at number 9 pick, the Buffalo Bills, Ed Oliver, defensive tackle out of Houston. I'm telling you, this kid is unblockable, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, they hit a home run with Ed Oliver. I think this could be the next Aaron Donald when you look at it. If they adjust the scheme in Buffalo to give him some support, he can be a wrecker on the defensive line. He has that quickness, he has that savvy, and he plays a little nasty also.
Yeah, he's nasty. Speaking of nasty, the Steeler Nation, Steel Curtain. From Denver, they get Devin Bush, linebacker out of Michigan. Maybe a little bit undersized if size matters, but as far as being a baller on the field, I think they still hit a solid pick. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, when you think about that Steelers linebacking core, it has not been the same since Ryan Shazier suffered that horrific injury, Charlton.
Yes.
And they've been looking for a replacement for him for the last 2 seasons. I think they found that in Devin Bush, who has a history of the NFL. You got to realize his dad played in the NFL. He was on the Rams Super Bowl team when they beat when they won the Super Bowl down there in Atlanta.
Against Tennessee.
This guy has championship pedigree. He was one of the great linebackers in the Big Ten at Michigan.
Yeah, and I know Harbaugh, he knows how to play the run, Big C. Number 11, Cincinnati Bengals, Jonah Williams, offensive tackle out of Alabama. This kid has been on a winning program, but now he's going to go up to Cincinnati. Do you think he will make a difference in the offensive line, especially for the big redhead? And Dalton, your thoughts?
I think this was an overreach for Jonah Williams. They were drafting Jonah Williams because he played at Alabama.
Yeah.
If you look at the problems that Jonah Williams had, especially against Sylvan Farrell, who the Raiders took with their first pick in the championship games playing Clemson the past couple of years, Charlton, he's going to have problems with the edge rushers in the NFL. If Cincinnati's going to do anything with him, they're going to have to move him down inside a guard. But I think they would have been better served in picking a true guard, someone who could pull in the NFL.
Yeah, Jonah Williams played at Folsom High School in Sacramento, California, before going to Alabama, along with Jake Browning out of Washington Huskies. Number 12, the Packers. Rashawn Gary, edge, Michigan. Give me your feeling. I mean, it's like Rodgers is running everybody out of town on the defensive side of the ball. Will this guy help the Packers get back to the playoffs?
Well, Charlton, I think this was a reach by the Packers. This is a guy who never achieved what everyone thought he would be coming out of high school. He just sort of got stagnated while he was in Michigan. I mean, he played in a great defensive scheme. Maybe he'll be motivated now that he's going to get paid for real to play for the Packers.
Yep.
But he has all the physical tangibles to be an outstanding NFL defensive line. Can somebody wake him up?
Number 13, Miami Dolphins, Christian Wilkson, defensive tackle out of Clemson. Clemson's turning out a lot of good players. The Dolphins, they can probably turn the corner. They just need a few more. They got a new coaching staff down there. I like that pick. I want to get your thoughts on it. Your thoughts.
He was probably the best overall defensive line product in the draft. He just wasn't as sexy as everybody else name-wise.
Yeah.
Christian Wilkins, a 4-year starter, playing all 4 defensive line positions at the University of Clemson, playing in 3 national championship games, Charlton winning 2 of them.
Yeah.
He's a great pick for the Dolphins, but I think the Dolphins had even more needs on offense. Even though Wilkins would be a great fixture for that defense, you got to realize 3 of the defensive linemen that the Dolphins had 2 years ago are gone. Both of their defensive ends, and Dominican Sue, they're all gone. So they're rebuilding from the ground up, and I'm looking to him to be the anchor in that foundation.
Number 14 pick, Atlanta Falcons, the Dirty Birds, Chris Landstrom, guard out of Boston College. He's going to leave all that good crab meat they eat up in the Northeast, going down south where they're going to fry the crab meat. Will he make a difference for the Falcons, Big C?
Well, this was an odd pick for the Falcons. You think about the Falcons, they signed 3 offensive linemen, veteran offensive linemen during the free agency.
Yeah.
Then you go out and you draft 2 linemen in the first round. So that means you got a lot of dead money in the roster.
Yeah.
You draft rookie offensive linemen in the first round to start.
Yeah.
You sign free agent offensive linemen in the offseason to start.
Yeah.
So what are the Falcons doing? I know you got Matt Ryan. You paid him a lot of money. He was sacked 42 times last year. But I'm curious about management here with the Falcons, that you signed 6 offensive linemen in total in the offseason, and you already had a roster full of them.
Yep, that's true. I'm really hyped on what the Redskins did. Maybe POTUS is going to start watching football instead of playing so much golf. It would save the American economy and the taxpayers from so much money. Dwayne Haskins, quarterback out of Ohio State, I love him because he said as a young boy he wanted to play for the Buckeyes. I think he gives you everything you want in a franchise quarterback, especially what happened to Alex Smith last year. I think he's a home run, if that makes any sense for a baseball analogy. Your thoughts?
Well, last night the Washington Redskins became the best team in the NFC East when you think about drafting Dwayne Haskins in the first round. The Redskins last year, when Alex Smith went down 7 games into the season, they had the best record in the AFC East. They were 5-2. Not only that, Charlton, they lost 4 of their starting offensive linemen during the regular season.
Yeah.
They lost their starting running back in the preseason. So this was an offense that really was without 6 starters last year because they lost their tight end also.
Yeah.
So now you get all those guys back healthy. You're putting in a healthy Dwayne Haskins who has an NFL caliber arm right away. You got Jay Gruden. Now this is a challenge this year between the Gruden brothers.
Yeah.
Was it going to be Jay or was it going to be John, the one that gets fired? That's what you're looking at. But Dwayne Haskins will propel them to the top of the NFC East.
Yeah, I really like it.
And the Giants will have to face this team twice a year.
Yeah.
Think about it. Now, you can have Dwayne Haskins turn out to be an all-pro quarterback over the next decade, and you can have Daniel Jones being a serviceable quarterback over the next decade.
Yeah, I don't know how you turn down anyone who throws 50 touchdowns in the Big Ten. Number 16 pick, the Carolina Panthers, Brian Burns, a strong guy on the edge out of Florida State. I think it's a good steal. Your thoughts?
Burns is an excellent pass rusher. He's going to take over where you had the big defensive end. He just retired.
Yeah.
Played in North Carolina. Gosh, this is what happens when you get CP all of a sudden.
It's the libations, Big C, no worries.
He's going to be a great help for Luke Kuechly.
Yep.
Bringing that edge rusher in there.
Yep.
And, Carolina, they need some help on the offensive line, but this was a great pick picking Burn.
Yeah, I really like that young kid. Number 17 pick, the Giants picked Dexter Lawrence, defensive tackle out of Clemson. And I thought that, I don't understand it, but again, the Giants, Big C, your thoughts?
This is the Giants. This is a team, when you think about the history of the New York Giants, it was always built on great pass rushers. You got Lawrence Taylor, Michael Strahan, Jason Pierre-Paul. You had guys who could get to the quarterback off the edge.
Yeah.
You draft a run stopper where you need an edge rusher now in the NFL. Defensive tackles, other than an Ndamukong Suh type of player, are not the guys that you want to take with your first pick. And you take a guy who is 350 pounds, you already had Big Baby there in the middle in New York. So you drafted a guy that was just like him. You didn't draft anybody that could get after the pass.
No, they traded Damon Harrison, who is the best run defender in the NFL. It just doesn't make any sense, and there's no Odell Beckham either. Number 18, Vikings, Garrett Bradbury, center out of North Carolina State. Give me your feelings on him.
Well, he was rated the best center in the draft, Charlton, coming out, and so everybody had him high on their boards when you looked at centers.
Yeah.
I think the Vikings are going to need some help. Your cousin is not that mobile playing quarterback, and so maybe you won't have any excuses in saying how you like me now.
That's funny, Big Z. Number 19, the Titans, Jeffrey Simmons, defensive tackle, Mississippi State. I think he's probably a C choice for the Titans. Your feelings?
Well, when you look at Jeffrey Simmons, I know he had an Achilles injury, but, as a physical specimen, he was the best-looking physical specimen in the draft. I'm talking about in any position.
Yeah.
You can take a guy, he looked like a bodybuilder. So this is a guy playing down in Nashville, close to where he played college ball. I think he's a natural fit because environmentally he won't change. He's accustomed to the people in that area.
Yeah.
And he's playing with Mike Vrabel down there, the head coach, who's a defensive-minded guy.
Yeah, I we'll see how that works out. I want to go to your friend, John Elway. The Denver Broncos, Noah Fant, tight end, Iowa. I don't know the difference. I just don't understand. Maybe, do you think that's what they need, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, this was an excellent pick, realistically, when you're looking at where the Denver Broncos are. You got Joe Flacco in. You got a quarterback. Now you need some receivers for this quarterback. Not only that, you got a protector.
Yeah.
Noah Fant can get down the field. He runs a 4.5 40 at tight end. He's very, very well, seasoned route running wise.
Yeah.
So you bring him in with a veteran quarterback like Flacco. They're going to help each other out a lot. You got a guy that you can go to that's a big target.
Yep.
You got your outside receivers now. You got a young running back that was a rookie of the year, the top rushing rookie in your conference.
Yeah.
In Lindsey. Denver is going to be very well suited at quarterback. You got to look at this as like when Peyton Manning first came into Denver.
Yeah.
You have that veteran quarterback that has no pressure on him.
Well, the last 9 minutes, Big C, the Green Bay Packers, 21st pick from Seattle to get Darnell Savage, a safety out of Maryland. He can cover anybody. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this is a very physical player, but you look at Green Bay, they picked a lot of secondary players. I mean, they had Clinton Dix that they let go of. So you're replacing a guy with a guy that's the same caliber. I guess it's a money-saving move with Green Bay.
Yeah. Speaking of move, the Eagles from Baltimore, they get Andre Dillard, left tackle out of Washington State, a behemoth. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, this is a solid move for the Eagles. You're going to have to try to keep Carson Wentz healthy. Dillard, to me, I thought was the best tactical tackle in the draft. Technician. Here's a guy who played in a passing offense at Washington State and only gave up 1 sack. So I think you could pencil him in from day one and have a decade-long career from him.
Yeah, I think so, too. The Texans in the 23 pick, Titus Howard, offensive tackle, Alabama State. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, they went for athleticism at going down to Alabama State. So often that everybody is looking at the big universities, and you skip a lot of talent. This takes me back to the days when all the HBCs prior to integration was sending #1 draft picks into the NFL, not only from that, into the Hall of Fame. And that's what I see with the kid out of Alabama State, is that he's a guy with a lot of athleticism. What do you have in Deshaun Watson? An athletic quarterback, so you need a mobile offensive tackle that can move with him.
Couple of more teams, Big C. The Raiders, 24th pick, Josh Jacobs, running back out of Alabama. No more beast mode. Could he be beast mode too, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, I don't see that, Charlton. I really didn't even see a need to draft a running back in the first round of the NFL draft. I know they've been devalued over the years, but the Raiders have a lot more pressing needs than a running back. They needed secondary help. They needed linebacker help. They needed another defensive lineman to help them.
Yep.
And there were plenty of them on the board, Charlton. So the Raiders, this is a stretch for Josh Jacobs. I know he has not carried the ball a lot at Alabama. And so, John Gruden and Mike Mayock were both very high. But when you look at all the Raiders draft picks, these were draft picks that were made by Mike Mayock and John Gruden.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what $100 million can buy you. 25th, the Ravens from Philadelphia. Marquise Brown, wide receiver, Oklahoma, played good football, and I want to know if he's going to be what they need for the Ravens. Your thoughts?
Well, when you look at the type of offense they ran, with Marquise Brown at Oklahoma, that's a similar type offense that you ran with the Raiders and Lamar Jackson. Ravens and Lamar Jackson. Same type of offense he ran at Louisville. So you brought a player in that fits the scheme of the quarterback that you have. This is how Baltimore is going to build their team now around the quarterback. So you're looking for the scat receiver. That's what you have in Marquise Brown.
Number 26 picks, Redskins from Indianapolis, Montez Sweat, edge rusher, Mississippi State. I think he's amazing. Your thoughts?
Well, when you look at the Redskins, they had an outstanding young defense last year. That's what carried the team. But you add Montez Sweat, of all the defensive linemen that were drafted, this kid has the greatest upside. There were some people that took him off the draft board. They said he had a heart condition, which for 4 years in college didn't bother him. So he had enough heart to play every down. And I see him stepping into this Redskins pass rush rotation. And they were one of the top pass rushing teams in the NFL last year. He can be a double-digit sack man right away.
Yeah, he's amazing. 27th pick, the Raiders, Jonathan Abrams, Southern Mississippi State. Gruden, I don't know. He's not a big fan of analytics. I'm not really sold on this kid. Your thoughts?
Well, like I said, I'm not sold on the Raiders draft overall. I mean, you can tell that Mayock and Gruden are making these draft picks. We know that Mayock, for the past couple of years, has been a draft expert. Excuse me. Draft expert on the NFL Network. So if the Raiders don't make it in this draft, Charlton, if they don't get impact players, and you got 3 first-round draft picks, and you don't get impact players, you got to go back to where you got your general manager from and said, who was he fooling while he was on TV?
Final few minutes, Big C. The Chargers, the LA Chargers, Jerry Tillery, defensive tackle, Notre Dame. I give him an A rating, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, you're going to add a young man into a defense that was very aggressive and dominant last year. When you think about the Chargers, they were carried by their defense. Phillip Rivers had an outstanding year at quarterback with the great receivers he had. But when you look at the pressure that the defense was able to put on, other than in that AFC playoff game against the Patriots, this is an outstanding team. And right now, with the problems that the Kansas City Chiefs are having, there'll be a challenge for the AFC West.
Well, I want to go to the 29th pick, Seattle Seahawks, L.J. Collier, an edge rusher out of TCU. He's a good run defender, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, TCU has been up and down as far as the players that they've sent to the NFL, and I think this might have been a stretch. You just got rid of Clark, sending him off to Kansas City. They're looking for a player that can fill that role, Charlton. And if they found a diamond in the rough down in TCU, they'll have one.
Last 3 minutes. Number 30th pick, the Giants from Seattle, DeAndre Baker, cornerback out of Georgia. Georgia has a lot of good athletes. Does he fit in the Great Northwest? Your thoughts?
Well, he's going to the Giants, Charlton, and there was a lot of question marks about Baker going into the draft. He was the top defensive back in college football, but he also has this little mantra that he won't make a tackle, that he won't hit anybody. He's a great cover guy, a la Deion Sanders. But in today's NFL, you have to hit people.
Last 2, 31st pick, the Falcons via the LA Rams. You think about the Caleb McGarry offensive tackle, Washington. Give me your feelings on him, Big C.
Well, I think they got to look at him in the opening game of the season when they played down in that Dome Stadium in Atlanta, when they played the University of Auburn. And that's where they really probably penciled in on this young man. But as I said, the Falcons, you draft 2 offensive linemen in the first round. You need to pencil these guys in from day one. You draft a guard, you draft a tackle. But you also sign 3 offensive linemen in free agency. So there's some dead money in Atlanta. It's not that you're going to cut people, but how are the rookies going to beat out the veterans? Are they that good?
Final minute, Big C. 32nd pick, the Patriots, N'Keal Harry, wide receiver, Arizona State. I think he's a good pick, especially when you have Brady throwing you the ball. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, you got to give some consideration to this young man. You realize this is the first wide receiver drafted by the New England Patriots since Bill Belichick has been there.
Wow.
The last Patriot receiver that was drafted in the first round was Terry Glenn out of Ohio State, and prior to that, Irving Fry out of Nebraska.
Yeah.
This is the first receiver that the Patriots have spent a first-round draft pick on under Bill Belichick. The kid is a tremendous athlete. He's 6'3", 220 pounds. Tremendous speed, 4.40. I think Tom Brady needs this in the latter part of his career, a guy that can get over the top. We see how successful he was with Josh Gordon prior to him being suspended. I think this is a great asset for the Patriots.
Well, we've just covered all the NFL draft. Everybody has their own opinion. We love NFL. I think it's fantastic. It's amazing. So whether it's NBA basketball, the Warriors tonight playing down in L.A., of course, baseball all over the place. Got some great NHL hockey games played tonight and also over the weekend. We wish everybody the best. If you just got your name picked for the NFL draft, congratulations. Your dreams can come true. Big C, back in the day, there was a man by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Rumble, young man, rumble. Big C, what are you looking forward to in the sports universe?
Two very intriguing stories of sports tonight, Charlton. Will the Warriors be able to land on their feet and eliminate the Clippers? And where will Josh Rosen land at in second round of the NFL draft tonight?
Well, that's a very good suggestion. He'll land someplace. I don't know where it's going to be, but his family has a lot of money. Speaking of landing, you can land too every Monday through Friday at 5 and 6 p.m. worldwide when you follow Big C Sports on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C, in them good old boys down south. As we always tell you, there's never, ever an excuse for domestic violence. If you know any man or woman going through that garbage, please call 911, because no man or woman should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. And as we always tell you, on every Big C Sports show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.